Hello, everyone, and welcome to Monday Bygle, your go to podcast for exploring the fascinating intersection of AI, law, and technology. I'm your host, Michał Jackowski, and today we have a special guest, Angel Aledo Lopez. He's Chief Technology Officer and Chief Operating Officer at the European Patent Office. Angel has been a trailblazer in implementing AI based systems in public administration. He's done it at the EPO, revolutionizing the way patent applications are processed. Today, we'll dive into the motivations, challenges, and legal considerations behind this ambitious project. Angel, welcome to the podcast and thank you for joining me.
Thank you very much for that invitation. It is really a pleasure to be here and, of course, to share what we did and also some of the concerns people have on the use of artificial intelligence in public organizations.
It's really crucial topic and highly discussed. So maybe at the beginning you can tell us what was the main motivation behind implementing AI-based system solutions in European Patent Office, and what specific challenges were you aiming to address?
Yes, I would say before a bit of history on the implementation of AI in the office. Okay, we were using AI solutions in some specific areas, like for example, machine translation, but pre-classification as well. Before we started the main projects or main AI implementation activities in the office, but we had to rely on third-party providers or external companies to deliver those components. So they were like black boxes, out of the box, if you want to call it, AI solutions that had to be integrated with our products. So when we started the implementation of the first strategic plan with the current president in 2019, we realized that there was a lot of potential to customize those AI solutions to our needs and to integrate a bit better these AI solutions into our products. And then is when we decided to go ahead with the implementation of an AI program as part of our strategic plan to deliver tools that will fit to the specific case of patents. That is a bit completely different to what you can find in the market. As I say, in many cases, you can find very good models or solutions, AI solutions that will tell you if it is a dog or a cat. But for the patent language and for the specific problems of trying to process the claims, the drawings that are coming with the patent applications, you need to understand the business language of patents. So we thought that there was a great opportunity there to invest on the development of our custom solutions for the office, and this is what we did. So the reasoning behind was obviously to increase quality on the searches, because nowadays we manage a huge volume of data, and as well at the same time efficiency, consistency as well. So those were the main drivers of that implementation. Okay, first of all, they need to customize the AI solutions that were in the market, let's call it, to the needs of a patent office. Second, to increase the quality of the work we do and the services we deliver. And third, obviously, efficiency gains as well.
I heard you succeeded to get all these purposes you aimed at, but can you walk us through how the system operates now, and maybe a bit about the process itself, how you were implementing it? Was it the full implementation or some stages of the process? Please describe it.
Yes. Well, basically, we're still on it. I mean, this is still work in progress. We have seen very good results that I can tell you, of course, that we have implemented AI in almost every single step of our internal processes. Okay, from the moment people file the application until we need to issue a cert report or a written decision, there are several steps where AI is supporting our examiners and formality officers to perform their task. As you can imagine, in the area of patents nowadays, we need to manage a huge volume of information. We have non-patent literature documents. We have patents from offices around the world. So in many different languages, the level of complexity of the technical fields is increasing as well at the same time. So without the support from machines, without the support from AI, it will be very difficult to perform our task. So basic steps. So at the very beginning, obviously, as I said, we need to manage and understand many different languages. So machine translation is crucial for our task as an office. So we have developed a machine translation engine that can translate more than 99% of the documents we have in our office. So all this non-patent literature in Chinese, in Korean, Japanese. So we have developed that custom translation engine that understand the language of patents. So this is why it is better than other out-of-the-box translation engines and can deliver high quality, again, translations of those patents. So that makes easier the searches of people. Then we have implemented pre-classification. So we need to decide when a case arrives to the office, who is the best examiner that can perform or can take over this case. Okay. So in the past, a long time ago, that process was manual. Obviously, there were people that were checking and reading the applications and try to identify who is the best team or the best division in our case that can deal with this file. Nowadays, AI can already understand the meaning or the context behind an application and can try to match this application with the best team. So there we use AI as well. And of course, again, that is increasing the consistency of the distribution of files and also the quality at the very end of the results. Then we have pre-search. As I said, due to the complexity and the volume of documents we have in our databases, millions of documents, we need to give to the examiner before they start with a case what from the system point of view we consider that are the best documents for this case. Okay, so they have already a starting point. They don't need to start from zero. So in pre-search, we have different techniques to let's call it search strategies implemented in IT systems that are going to try to find what are the documents that are more relevant to that case. And there we have the very traditional techniques using keywords, classification, and so on. And we have introduced as well AI. So we have created like a fingerprint for the different documents based on the classification, based on AI, automatic classification, and we try to see how similar is this document according to this, let's call it vector created by AI, to other documents we have in our databases, and that can tell us the level of similarity. So we have AI in all those processes. Now we are exploring the possibility to use as well AI for examination and opposition. So we have started to explore solutions there. And to allow drafting, for example, to generate automatically not the decisions themselves, but to generate text, yes, on the basis of the analysis done by the examiner. And we have already implemented tools with large language models as well. We have, for example, a tool that supports our examiners and formality officers and legal people to understand the legal text. So, as an office, we need to follow the European Patent Convention, but we have implementation rules, but we have the guidelines, we have internal instructions. So there are many, many different documents with a legal component that in the past, in order to be able to understand what you had to do in some cases, or you wanted to ask a question to the system, you had to navigate through a huge amount of documents and information in order to figure out what to do and what was the right answer. Now we have a legal interactive platform that is the kind of ChatGPT interface where people can interact with the legal text, like when you are interacting with a tool like ChatGPT, and get the answers from our legal text. And obviously always with references to those legal texts, so to avoid hallucination. So people see the answer and can always click into the link and go to the reference, to the legal reference, and find the results. So this is helping a lot to also to understand the legal background sometimes in some cases. And we are planning to integrate these solutions as well in our core business processes, because right now those are interfaces that are disconnected, but they will be connected. So as you see, a bit of everything. Okay, we have a bit of AI in all steps in the process.
So I wonder, how long does it take from the, let's say, decision to implement it through the testing phase until the final implementation, and how many people are involved in such the stage to do it? Is it a big team of AI engineers?
We have more or less 10 data scientists working almost full time for this, for that implementation. So we in the IT, we have a data scientists fully dedicated to that. And we have the support from the business as well. So you don't need only data scientists to implement AI solutions. You need experts. Okay? So we have the examiners, our examiners that are helping us and supporting us to implement that. And then obviously then we have developers that again to write Python code or to write user interfaces. You don't need to have to be a data scientist to develop the solution. So it is a combination. It is a mix between different teams. This is something from my point of view also. Lessons learned, and many people believe that just with the knowledge of AI you can deliver very good solutions, but you need to integrate those solutions with your systems. You need to develop user interfaces. You need to understand the business case that you are implementing. You need the business knowledge. Okay, so you need to combine different skills to deliver a very good solution in this area. Okay, it cannot be done isolated from the rest. About the time, as as quickly as possible, I would say, and I will explain the reason. Nowadays, the technology is evolving very, very quickly. So my advice and what we do is we try to prototype and implement solutions as quickly as possible and deliver a solution and test and verify the results as quickly as possible. The days where I'm more in the area of AI, where you can spend 6 months writing the specification, 6 months writing, designing the system, and 6 months implementing the system are over. Okay, in AI and with the changes that technology are facing every day, you need to iterate as quickly as possible and deliver prototypes or tools that then you can assess the results. Also, it is very important to verify with the users what is the level of quality, solutions are working or not, level of error, and iterate continuously until you get something that works. Okay, so in our office we follow that agile approach, and we prototype, we deliver, and iterate on the product until we have something better. And this will be one of my very strong recommendations. Okay, I cannot see projects in the area of AI, and again I insist with the changes that we are facing in the technology and in the models and everything else, that can last more than 1 year, because they will be obsolete the moment you want to deliver them.
Okay, and what are the biggest technical and organizational challenges you encountered during the implementation of these systems, and how did you overcome them?
Interesting question again. I will start with that with the previous answer, because in a way that could be a follow-up. As I said, nowadays there are different. If we are talking, for example, now that we are using large language models as well, we are talking about this. This is a technology that is changing very quickly. There are different models in the market. Some of them are commercial, some of them are open source. You start working with one, in few months you will have a different one or a new one that outperforms the previous one. So the capacity to adapt to different solutions, sometimes even the pace of development of those tools, the moment you finish the implementation of an API, you get a different API and you have to upgrade and modify all your code. So you need to keep a level of effort, a constant level of effort, to keep your solutions updated and to get the maximum benefit from the new things that are coming. So this is from a technical point of view. Then obviously skills, having that knowledge, understanding how to integrate the products, understanding how they work, being able to fine-tune sometimes these kind of solutions. It implies that you need to have some skills, skills that are very difficult to find in the market nowadays. So that is something that obviously we have, as I said, access to the major players in the market and also to open source solutions. So we are in a very good position in that sense because yes, we can play with different solutions, we can implement different solutions, and test and see if the results are good or not. And then we have that internal knowledge that I think that we are also in a very good position. But I understand that for some companies or organizations, this is an issue, getting that knowledge, having those skills internally. Then the only solution is to buy, and then we go to the cost of the solution. Obviously, you need to buy the solutions, and the expertise can be quite expensive. The use of models, the fine-tuning a model, training, machine translation can take a couple of weeks for a language, for just one language. So you need to have GPUs, you need to have computing capacity, and this is expensive. So again, that could be a limitation for the implementation of the products. Okay, cost, skills. I will mention change management. Change management is very, very difficult, more in a public organization like our organization. Obviously, when you have a system like research and people get the result, people that are experts in an area, sometimes they don't understand why the machine has selected a document, and you need to build trust in the system. Some people need to understand why the document is there. Is there a paragraph that is relevant to this case, yes or not? It is very difficult with AI solutions to give all these explanations. Sometimes you don't understand why AI is telling you something, and building that trust, changing your way of working to adapt to the way the tools work. For example, in the area of classification, affecting some automatic classification implies a lot of change management, having to explain to people why we need to introduce these tools, what are the benefits, the new way of interacting with the tools. Imagine, for example, when we introduced the legal interactive platform, and people were used to look into the books, if you want to call it, to click on the links, to find out, to read the text, to search using keywords, and suddenly you tell them, no, you don't have access to that. You just need have an interface, and you start asking questions in a natural language. Okay, so more elaborated than in the past. You don't use keywords anymore. You have to say, can I affect a document in the context of opposition if the translation is not provided by the applicant? This kind of long sentences or prompt to interact with a tool, people were not doing that, and they were still using keywords. They were accessing to the tool and putting opposition, translations, and they were expecting to get all the relevant documents. No, you don't get the relevant documents, you get an answer, and with the answer you will get the relevant documents, but in order to get an answer you need to have a proper interaction with the tool. So you need to train the people, you need to tell them how to use the new tools, and sometimes that implies a process of unlearning what you know in order to learn the new ways of working, and this takes a bit of time. Yes.
So all these challenges are very similar to business challenges.
Yes.
But you started a bit speaking about public and problems with implementing AI-based systems in public administration. So maybe my next question is what challenges typical for maybe public administration and deploying an AI system in public administration you were facing, maybe some legal or ethical challenges you have to address. Are there any?
There are, obviously, we have our data protection rules, so we need to make sure that the information that we don't use, let's call it the open models that are there offered by some companies. We have our contracts with our providers to offer a secure environment and protect it, where they don't keep track of any prompt or any training or any information that we may send to these models. We have our own servers, our own GPUs on premises, because in some cases we deal with unpublished data, and obviously we need to be very careful with the information we share as well with external providers or with external cloud systems. So this one, data protection and the management of sensitive data, in our case, unpublished data, we need to be very careful when you are training the models, when you are delivering the solutions, to make sure that everything is protected, and you take into account these kind of things. This was one of the challenges. Um, we are not in a position as an office, so we don't face ethical, in that sense, issues, because the machine is not deciding if a person is going to get a reward or not. The machine is not going to decide if a patent is going to be refused or not. Not even if the patent can be granted, or the deficiencies. That is always an examiner that is taking the final decision. So what you have to do is you need to remind people that they cannot fully trust always what the machine is telling them. No, if the machine is coming with a list of results, for example, in research, and there are verified documents that are very good, this doesn't mean that you need to stop your search there. You need to still to look into the case and identify there are gaps and there are documents that have not been found, and you need to find yourself. So there is still an obligation from the examiners to perform their job. Okay, so in that sense, from an ethical point of view, we didn't face any issue. I would say that another issue could be the legal one. The use of content, for example, if we generate images for presentations, for something else, the use of content that could be protected by copyright or by rights. So we need to tell people again, be very careful with the use of these kind of tools. If something is generated there, try to verify with our legal people, communications department, if you can use that whatever that image, or and there are no legal issues with the information we use. Okay. So those are the main things: data protection, confidentiality, and the use of unpublished data. But as you said, many of the issues, constraints, are very similar to the ones we had in the past with normal IT solutions. We are talking about, at the very end, an IT system. So we had to take into account data privacy, security, all those aspects we take into account when building systems. It is not so different to traditional systems in that sense.
You mentioned a bit that machine is not deciding, but it is influencing somehow
Yes.
people, human. So where is the balance, and how is it balanced? This human oversight and influence of AI systems. You mentioned that people have an obligation to check, to go deeper than just to use the system. But do you check it? How they do it? If the tool is not biasing them, because I mention it because it's very often discussed during the conferences when discussing implementing, for instance, AI-based systems supporting judges, or AI systems supporting decision makers. How
Yes.
is it in EPO?
Yes, the risk of bias of influencing those decisions is there. Obviously, when the machine is telling you 80% of the people had decided that is the whatever the classification number one, and you still can believe that it is number two. But yes, some people can say, if 80% has decided already that it is one, I am going to give one because I am in the safe path, no? Because the vast majority have decided this. Obviously, what we tell people, well, first of all, I think that AI, in that sense, there is a risk of bias, but there is a benefit, that is consistency. Okay, what it is not good is that people decide based on their level of knowledge. Go back to assigning the case to the best examiner, okay, or to the best team that can perform that task. In the past, there were humans that were doing that classification or distribution of tasks, and they had their own interpretation of this should be the best to do that task. So there was a lack of harmonization, depending on the site, depending on the level of knowledge of the person, depending on the understanding of that case. So the machine can introduce some bias, but can introduce consistency as well. It's more consistent, can tell you better if a case belongs to a person or not on the basis of mathematical methods, whatever is working behind that, than a human. That I can tell you. Okay, it's more consistent. We have seen that overall, for example, that consistency and obviously the quality is coming from the use of AI. What we try to do, for example, is in the area of classification, we don't train our systems with the classification done by AI, because obviously that bias that the machine is introducing will be reintroduced again in the training process. So, for example, in order to avoid that bias, in order to take into account the feedback from our examiners, we only train classification with human classification, and we create the data set with humans. So we know that this is high quality data. Okay, this is a way of avoiding that error or risk that the machine will learn from their own, let's say, output and will introduce even more bias. Okay, this is one of the things. Another thing is to learn from the use of the system from the examiners, from people. So when you introduce the human component, and imagine in research, you can learn from the use of the examiners. You recommend a number of documents. The examiners at the very end will put in their search report, will cite a number of documents as well. So you can always, in a way, automatically try to see how relevant were the documents that were mentioned by research to that examiner. And that is a process of continuous feedback. The system is continuously learning and trying to rank these documents from the use of the humans. So the bias that the system could have towards some specific documents or concepts is in a way mitigated by the daily use of the examiners, that is training or retraining the system and telling, no, this is not the right document, this is not the right ranking, document is more relevant. So having the human component always there in the work that they do on a daily basis and having that automatic feedback on the way they work is reducing a bit that bias, yes. But the risk is always there that people, of course, they will have a tendency to go for the solution given by the machine because obviously it looks good always, the text, but it is a matter of training and explaining to people what they have. On top of that, obviously, we have quality controls. We measure the quality of the results, not only of the work done by the machine, but the work done by humans. And then obviously there are, in our case, we have a division working on a file. So there are 3 examiners looking into the file, plus a team manager, plus quality controls. So they look into the search. They see, have we searched enough? Are the documents really relevant? So that is a process already in place to make sure that the quality is there, okay? Despite of the use of the tools are helping, but you need to keep those processes, those human processes, to measure quality.
So the next question is about the results. How do you measure the success and impact of the system, and what are key metrics maybe you use to check whether it's successful or not?
Yes. Well, it depends on the use case. Basically, for example, I can go one by one, but if we are talking about routing of the files to the examiners, okay, how do we measure? Well, all the documents, all the incoming documents go to that engine, and the engine is trying to determine who is the best team to deal with that case. So the team has the possibility still to decide, no, this file doesn't belong to me. So we measure that rejection rate. So we see that in more than 94% of the cases, the file is technically accepted. We have a process of technical acceptance. It's technically accepted by the team. That means that the routing of the file was done correctly by the person. So in 6% of the cases, this is not done properly, and then we need to figure out why. It could be because we need to retrain the machine. It could be because of other factors that are not related to the IT system, like, for example, workload or sickness or something else, so that someone else has to take care of that case, but that was the best match. So that is always an analysis. So we have metrics, for example, to see that in this specific case, because we are trying to deliver the file to the best examiner. So we need to see if we are doing this or not. In the case of research, it's slightly different. In the case of research, for example, what we look is we rank the documents and we say from the top 80 documents that we have provided to the examiner, how many have been used in the final report. Okay, and then we see if the documents that the machine has provided were relevant or not. So we have this, and this is why we are continuously learning. We see if the documents we have provided are not relevant, we need to see it. There were other documents in a lower, let's call it, ranking that were relevant. So why the machine has not identified this document? So that is a process, again, of continuing checking what is happening in the background, and this is the way we can measure the success, and this is why we can see as well differences between the technical fields. We see that the machine is performing better in some technical areas, the machine is not performing so well in other technical areas. So yes, we have a lot of indicators for that.
Maybe one last question, because it's the biggest project regarding implementation of AI-based system that I know, that I'm aware of. But many public institutions are looking forward to adopting AI systems. So what advice would you give to other public institutions? How they should approach it? What practical steps they should take? And maybe how the future, how do you think the future would look like or will look like when they adopt AI-based systems, or if they adopt them at all?
Yeah, well, a lot of questions
A lot of
in one. I would say my advice is, as I said at the very beginning, is try to prototype and iterate as quickly as possible. Okay, you are not going to get perfect solutions. If you want to wait until something is perfect, if the feedback you get when you implement something is this is good, not good enough, obviously. It is very difficult when we are talking about AI to deliver solutions that will classify in 100% of the cases, okay? Or that will find all the documents in 100% of the cases, or that will deliver solutions for all technical fields, okay? So you need to be ready to accept a level of error in the system, and you need to design that system in a way that you protect the humans and the system from the errors, okay? So feedback loops, a human intervention, error paths to deal with those cases, because they are going to happen. So if someone believes that just because they are going to implement an IT tool, they are going to fully automate something, it is not going to happen, okay? Mm-hmm. There are areas where obviously you need to trust the machine. For example, if we are translating a Chinese document and I don't understand Chinese, I need to trust what is coming from that machine. But still, if I don't understand something, I will go for a human translation, or I will go for an expert that knows that language. But in most of the cases, I need to trust because I don't have the level of knowledge to verify myself. Second thing, as I said, is yes, of course, I do believe that people need to adopt AI in public institutions like in any other one, because there are benefits there. There are a lot of benefits. I see them on a daily basis, and I see that there is potential even for more. But you need to have that readiness or that maturity to develop products quite quickly. In public institutions, sometimes the main constraint is all our internal processes to get approval for projects, as you said, to buy services, products. It takes a lot of time. So I see sometimes that some projects fail because you need to write specifications. You spend a lot of time writing use cases, acceptance criteria, defining what you want to do, technical solutions. So you can invest months doing that. And the moment you want to start implementing, whatever you have described already there is completely obsolete. Technology can do something else. So we need to find ways of implementing things in a faster way. Okay, in AI, I would say is quite important. Technology is changing a lot. If you're not ready to accept that level of changes and to experiment a bit, obviously you need to wait for other solutions. Another advice will be to take into account that whenever you implement an AI solution, AI out of the box, you just take a model from Google or a model from a big company. It is not going to work by default very well for your business case. So you need to adapt the behavior of that tool to your system. So you need to understand what is the business case you are trying to address. As I said, it is not the same solution for pre-classification than for classification than for reclassification in our case. So you don't understand your business case. If you don't understand what you are trying to achieve, what your problem you are trying to solve, it is very difficult to deliver good results. In the case of reclassification, when we need to reclassify patents, when I need to classify, I have hundreds of thousands of patents that have been already classified. So I can get a machine, feed the machine with hundreds of thousands of documents, and train a model, train a system. When I need to reclassify, it is something completely new. I have zero documents with the new classification because it is new. So the process of training of the machine, the process of learning, the process of feedback, the human intervention in that system is completely different. So if you don't design the solutions, if you don't select the technologies according to the business case, you are not going to be able to deliver the results. So this is quite important as well.
Great insights, Angel. Thank you so much for sharing these insights and the EPO's innovative approach to implementing AI. It's really great you were empowered to do such the changes. It's great they allowed you to maybe to fail or sometimes to experiment. And I hope many politicians even listen to our podcast and are ready to empower such the people as you in other public institutions to leverage AI for efficiency and transparency, because it's very important also for public services. Thank you. You could join me.
I agree. If I can say something on this as well, I can tell you this has not been an IT project. This was part of the strategic plan of the office. This is something supported by the office. And in the second strategic plan we are going to have, it is fully supported by the organization. It is written down in our strategic plan. It is communicated to all stakeholders, to our administrative council, so everyone knows what we are doing. It is fully supported by the organization. It is not an IT task. That is very clear. Without the support from management, without understanding of the benefits that these solutions can deliver, obviously you cannot get either the trust from the from the people to build them or the budget for the implementation. So yes, it is important to convince people on the benefits. Yes, I agree.
Thank you once again. You could join me and show how it's possible in the public administration. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much to you for the invitation. A pleasure. Thank you.
And to my listeners, don't forget to subscribe to Monday Bygle, to comment this fascinating episode, and check for the next episodes, provoking discussions at the intersection of AI, law, and technology. Share your other thoughts, and until next Monday, see you.